Well, we're thinking about our Big Bible characters at the moment, and I don't know if you can remember who we started with last week, but there were two characters. Can you remember? Yes, that's right. It was Adam and Eve. We're starting right at the beginning of the Bible in Genesis, and we were thinking about Adam and Eve. And we remembered how God had created an amazing world with stars and planets and beautiful plants and trees and amazing animals. And in that world he put his people, Adam and Eve, to take care of the land, to have a great relationship with God. But sadly they spoilt their relationship because God had said not to eat from one of the trees, and that was the one thing that they did. So God had to remove them from that beautiful place and that beautiful garden. But that wasn't the end of the story, and God definitely had a great rescue plan. So that was our first week. This week we're thinking about a different character. If I gave you a clue, he built a very big boat, he had a lot of animals, and a few extra people joined him as well. I bet you've got a good idea. We're thinking about Noah this week. Here he is. So we'll just tell you the story now. Time passed and many people filled the earth. Everyone everywhere had forgotten about God and were only doing bad things all the time. But Noah was God's friend, and he listened to God. He talked to God. He just loved being with God, like you do with your best friend. Noah, God said, things have gone wrong. People have filled the world with hate instead of love, and then destroying themselves and each other. I must stop them. First, we'll build an ark. Do you know how to build an ark? A storm is coming, God told Noah, but don't worry, I'll rescue you, I promise. So Noah built an ark, and his neighbours came out to watch, and they pointed and laughed because they thought he looked rather silly. His boat was in the desert, nowhere near even a cloud in the sky. Why would anyone need an umbrella, leave alone a boat? But Noah didn't mind so much what other people thought. He minded what God thought. So he did just what God told him to do. And in came the animals, 2 by 2, each of their different kind. And when they were all there, God said, "All aboard!" And Noah's family and all the other animals climbed inside. And then God shut the door. And it started raining, and raining, and raining. And the boat had once that seemed so big suddenly seemed very small. But God was with them, and he kept them safe for 40 days and 40 nights. And finally, the rain stopped, and out came the sun. Noah threw open the windows. "Hooray!" shouted everyone, and he sent his dove out to explore. And it wasn't long before she found dry ground. At last, the boat landed quite suddenly on top of a great mountain, and as soon as it was safe, God said, "Out you come!" And so they did, everyone skipping and dancing on dry land. And the first thing Noah did was to thank God for rescuing them, just as he'd promised. And the first thing God did was make another promise. I won't ever destroy the world again. But he said, "Look, I've hung up my bow in the clouds," and there in the clouds, just where the storm meets the sun, was a beautiful bow of light. It wasn't long before everything went wrong again, but God wasn't surprised. He knew this would happen. That's why, before the beginning of time, he had a much better plan. One not to destroy the world, but to rescue it. A plan to one day send his own son, the rescuer.